All right, we have a bit of an update on Kyle and my health because things kind of took a turn this week. A lot of twists and turns. We found out at Kyle's post-op that the full pathology of what was removed from his brain on the 8th of October
was cancerous.
It was cancerous.
Yeah.
It wasn't just precancerous, which is what the preliminary pathology showed.
Mm-hmm.
It was actually a tumor forming. So we're really grateful that they were able to remove that. But where it was located and without risking Kyle having a lot of deficits, Dr. Smith explained that he's not 100% sure that he got the clearest of margins, especially now that we have the full pathology. It shows that there was no signs of like this being treatment effect. It was all cancerous. So that means that Kyle's course of treatment is going to change. Yeah. And right now he's not on any treatment, which has been a gift. We kind of saw this coming, but it is a little bit of shock, I guess, because we were always hoping for the best news that maybe it just actually wasn't cancer at all.
We had just run a 10K beforehand.
2 days before we found out that this was happening.
Yeah.
So the plan as of right now is that in 6 to 8 weeks, Kyle will have another MRI so that they can kind of get a better gauge of what's going on and see if maybe once there's not any swelling or reaction from them using a laser in his brain, then Dr. Smith might have a better sense that he did get good margins. Based on what he sees then, he may recommend, and at this point it's very much in the ether of happening, that Kyle would have to go back to Arizona, which is crazy to think of, and get gamma knife radiation. And Kyle is at his lifetime limit for stereotactic radiation, which is basically like they're treating the whole brain, I guess. Is my understanding of that.
It's like
it's not as targeted.
Yeah, but it's still like targeted, but it was like it'll seep around to like the outside.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Get a lot of the healthy tissue. Where with this gamma knife, it's like even more targeted, so that they can get anything that is showing up on that MRI that'll come in a couple weeks.
Okay.
So he may have to do that, holding hope that we don't have to go back to Arizona for that.
God.
But, we are moving through that. And then the other piece of that puzzle is that he recommended that Kyle goes on a treatment, and that treatment is an IDH mutation inhibitor. Do you know what that is? Because
I don't.
basically what Kyle has is he has an astrocytoma, which is a type of brain tumor, with an IDH mutation. And in recent months, last 6 months to a year, I guess in the last year actually, they've changed the grading scale. And if you have an IDH mutation, even if it's an astrocytoma stage 4, it's no longer classified as glioblastoma.
Oh, yeah.
Because this IDH mutation being turned on means you don't qualify for it to be a glioblastoma, which is like, we found that out after his surgery last September, and it was really great news that we found that out because he doesn't have a glioblastoma, which is a less fortunate prognosis. Even though we don't ask for prognosis, it just isn't, it's fatal. I mean, it's very, very rare that people survive for a long period of time with a glioblastoma.
When I first got my diagnosis, they said it was a glio.
Yeah.
And I said, no way, I'm going to get away. I might gonna die.
Yeah, they classified his as a glioblastoma in 2004. So it just goes to show you how much the grading scale has changed. Because then they downgraded it to an astrocytoma stage 3 in 2016. And then stage 4 astrocytoma in 2024. So many crazy things. But that mutation is basically, it's a malfunction of his cells that is happening so that the cells can proliferate and multiply and become a brain tumor. Even though it's good that it is turned on so that it's not a GBM, it still is not great that it's on, because that's why part of the reason he has a brain tumor. So these drugs. There's one that was recently FDA approved for low-grade gliomas, which are cancerous tumors. And it is a drug that breaks the blood-brain barrier, and then it stops that mutation from happening. We see Kyle's oncology team next week, and hopefully they'll write that prescription for him to start that. We looked up the cost of it, and if you don't have insurance, it is $40,000 a month for this drug, which is truly insane.
Oh my gosh.
And that's a whole other conversation about healthcare, because we're also afraid that Kyle is not going to have access to see his neurosurgeon in Arizona, because his plan that he's on will no longer be available next year. So I have to figure out the logistics of, is there another plan that Dr. Smith accepts? It's just insane, and that's partly due to the state of our country, is what I will say, which is very infuriating, and hopefully Kyle doesn't lose all of his healthcare in general. But anyways, this is where we're at. And on top of all of this, I also have to go to the cancer center, but not for what you think. I found out on Monday, the day before we found all of this out with Kyle, so it's been a rough week emotionally, that I have really low ferritin, which I just have had that on and off. And I got an iron infusion 2 years ago. It lasted me 2 years. So that's pretty great length of time that I didn't feel any symptoms. So I'm going to the cancer center to get an infusion of iron in a week. And then I also found out that I have an autoimmune disease, which is so fun. It's a little scary to find out that you have an autoimmune disease, and it feels also silly because, like, it's not cancer. And it feels like hard to be like, let me also share my experience, because it's not as serious.
No. Like, autoimmune disease lasts for a lifetime.
Yeah, but it still is not as serious as brain cancer, so it feels like silly to be like, and this thing is happening with me. But
I wouldn't think about that at all.
But it is happening, so I'm going to share it, because I've also think it is partly due to the stress of dealing with Kyle's cancer and it weakening my own immune system to allow these autoimmune conditions to flare, because even though it's not technically, a lot of people see endometriosis as also an autoimmune disease, which would mean that I have two, and if you have one, it's likely that you have another, because your immune system is weakened. So I might also be starting a medication. We're both going to be on drugs. I'm meeting with my primary care doctor again to kind of go over things and hopefully get some more labs drawn to just get a better picture. And I didn't say it, but the autoimmune disease that I have is Hashimoto's. My mom has it. She's had it for 20 years. So I know that you can live with it. I know a lot of people that have it. It's very common in women, and it's an autoimmune that is caused by your thyroid being underactive. And I've noticed it because I've been more tired. I've been losing hair. It's getting better thanks to my Chinese medicine doctor. I have had just crazy joint pain, and I thought it was because of my endometriosis, and it could be both of them at play, but it's also a symptom of Hashimoto's. It can cause anxiety and depression. It can cause a lot of things. So I'm hoping that I can figure out ways to heal it and feel my best. But that is what's happening. We both have to go to the cancer center in the next week and a half. And I also, getting told that I had that just also made me worried, because I've been so close to cancer for the last 5 years, that having endometriosis increases your risk for ovarian cancer, and having Hashimoto's or thyroid condition increases your risk for thyroid cancer. So it just makes me nervous, and I'm trying not to even like allow that into my brain, but it is something that I'm aware of, that I know that those risks are higher because of the body that I'm living in and the struggles that it's facing, and the fact that it's attacking itself. So, we're just a fun bunch over here. But we're going to get through it. And that's all I got.
Yes.
You got anything?
No. That's about it. That's about it.
We're just kind of in like, at least I can speak for myself. I feel like I'm a little bit in survival mode at the moment. Just trying to like get through this week. It's been a rough week and I know that we'll move through it. Kyle will be fine. I'm holding that vision. We both will be healthy and happy and back running together. I'm still running, but running together so soon.
Yeah.
And hiking.
I'm just worried about you.
Why?
Because you're autoimmune disease. You were fine. Well, you weren't fine, but you were managing well, and now you might have autoimmune disease.
I do have it.
Yes, you do.
Yeah.
You do have it.
But maybe I can put it in remission.
You know, but don't put the autoimmune diseases in remission.
You can.
Oh.
You can. And so there's hope that there's like healing.
With
Not
medication.
Yeah.
Okay.
And other, like, I'm going to try a lot of alternative things as well. And, you know, I can't put my endometriosis in remission. So there's clearly something that triggered me to have an insane flare. And, like, it was truly a recipe for disaster because my ferritin's low. My endometriosis is definitely growing back and at, like, feels like a very rapid pace. I have so many of the pains that I had before my surgery in March 2023 and just new pains as well. My stomach is bloated all of the time. And I think it was just like all that inflammation, I think also then just was too much for my thyroid. I was like, I can't anymore. Because we have been keeping an eye on my thyroid for several years and there's been, you know, ebbs and flows of my like thyroid antibodies being elevated. And that's also an indication of Hashimoto's. But just like keeping an eye on it, and it's now just reached a point where my doctor's like, okay, we have to do something about it. So that's what's happening with us. So fun. Healing over here. We're doing our best. Next week will be a better week, and we'll take you along for it, where I'll share this journey of what lies ahead for both of us, but holding the vision of healing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. We love you. Thank you. We love you. Thank you for watching. And we'll see you in the next one. And it will be hopefully happier, lighter, more joyous. That's the plan. More joy. We want to live in that place of joy as much as we can. Because life is short and is sweet. And we only have one of them. So we might as well take advantage of it. Even despite what we face with our health. Because we still are able-bodied.
Yeah.
All things considering. So,
yeah.
Love you. Have a good week.